Ever heard of a town where history is so loud you can still hear the cannons roar? Welcome to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. To most, it's a peaceful, historic town, a beautiful slice of American heritage. But for 3 days in July of 1863, this place was hell on earth. A brutal, bloody battle that claimed the lives of over 50,000 soldiers. Every street, every field, every quiet home became a war zone, soaked in blood, fear, and unimaginable pain. And according to locals and countless visitors, the spirits of those who fell here never truly left. They say the battle never really ended. It just moved into the shadows. Imagine walking through the early morning mist, a common sight in Gettysburg, and seeing a figure approaching, a soldier. His uniform is tattered from another time. He looks so solid, so real, you might even nod a hello. And then, right before your eyes, he simply vanishes. This isn't a scene from a movie. It's a story told time and time again by tourists, paranormal investigators, and even skeptical locals. These spectral soldiers are seen marching through fields, standing guard on lonely roads, forever reliving their final moments. Let us take a walk to one of the most infamous spots on the battlefield, Devil's Den. This maze of massive boulders was the site of intense, close-quarters fighting. Even today, the air here feels heavy. People report hearing the disembodied sounds of gunshots and the screams of men echoing from the rocks. Electronic equipment, especially cameras and phones, mysteriously malfunctions. Batteries that were full are suddenly drained. Devices refuse to turn on, as if some unseen force is preventing you from capturing what's there. Stones have been known to move, seemingly on their own. But the most compelling encounters at Devil's Den involve a specific spirit. Witnesses describe seeing a man with long hair, a ragged shirt, and no shoes on his feet. Many believe he was a sharpshooter from Texas. He appears suddenly, points towards the top of the rocks, and says something like, "What you're looking for is up there." Then, as quickly as he appeared, he fades away into nothing. Who is he? Why is he still pointing the way? Is he trying to help, or is he forever trapped in his duty? From the rocky chaos of Devil's Den, we move to a place known as the Wheat Field. On the second day of the battle, this field changed hands 6 times in just a few hours. The fighting was so ferocious, it's said you could walk across the entire field on the bodies of the dead and wounded without ever touching the ground. Today, visitors report chilling experiences. The phantom screams of men in agony are a common report. Some people have even felt the sensation of unseen hands grabbing at their ankles, as if the dying are still reaching out for help from the blood-soaked soil. Faint whispers are heard on the wind, voices pleading, "Over here, please. Don't leave me." It's a profoundly sad and terrifying experience, a direct link to the suffering that happened right on that spot. Now, let's leave the battlefield for a moment and head into town, to a place that offered shelter during the conflict, the Farnsworth House Inn. This historic building, still a functioning inn today, has more than its share of permanent residents. During the battle, it was occupied by Confederate sharpshooters. In fact, the south wall of the house is still pockmarked with over 100 bullet holes. Guests and staff frequently report paranormal activity. The heavy thud of military boots is heard walking in the empty attic where the sharpshooters would have been. The ghost of a young boy, perhaps a child who died from a stray bullet, is heard singing softly in the hallways. The experiences can get much more personal and much more frightening. Lights flicker and turn on and off by themselves. The spectral figure of a woman is sometimes seen, weeping as she searches endlessly for her husband who died in the battle. Some guests have woken up in the middle of the night to the feeling of an icy cold breath on their neck. Others have woken in the morning to find unexplained handprints on their arms, as if they were held or comforted by an unseen presence during the night. Staying at the Farnsworth House isn't just a historical tour. It's an immersive and sometimes interactive ghost story. Let's go back to the battlefield, to a key strategic position, Little Round Top. This hill offered a commanding view of the area, and the fight to control it was desperate and brutal. The Union soldiers who held this line against overwhelming odds became legends, and it seems some of them are still on duty. Modern-day park rangers have told incredible stories of encountering soldiers on the hill late at night. These men, dressed in uniform, will approach the rangers and thank them for their help for holding the line. They engage in conversation, seeming completely normal. But the rangers, experts in the history of this place, notice that the uniforms are wrong. Not just inaccurate, but Civil War wrong. And as they process these details, the soldiers simply disappear, often in the blink of an eye, leaving the rangers alone on the dark, windy hill. Perhaps the most somber and sacred ground in Gettysburg is the National Cemetery, the final resting place for thousands of Union soldiers. It was here that Abraham Lincoln delivered his famous Gettysburg Address. But even in this place of honor and remembrance, the dead do not seem to rest entirely. Visitors have reported seeing a lone figure standing beside the graves, his head bowed in sorrow. At first, they assume he's a historical reenactor, a common sight in Gettysburg. But as they get closer, they see his face is as pale as ash, and his eyes are hollow voids of sorrow. Before they can speak, he seems to dissolve, melting away into the night air. Is this the spirit of a soldier mourning his lost comrades? Or something else, a manifestation of the collective grief that permeates this hallowed ground? Of all the haunted locations in and around Gettysburg, one of the most terrifying has to be the Sachs-covered bridge. It's a beautiful, picturesque bridge, but it has a dark history. It's believed that 3 Confederate deserters were caught and hanged from the beams inside this very bridge. Their story has given rise to some of the most shocking paranormal encounters in the area. One famous account involves a group of teenagers who dared to visit the bridge late one night. As they stood inside the dark, wooden structure, they heard muffled choking sounds as if someone was struggling for breath. They looked up and saw one of the large ropes left by investigators swinging violently back and forth as if bearing the weight of a body. But there was nothing there. Terrified, they ran, only to hear the sound of heavy, running footsteps chasing them out of the darkness of the bridge. The stories from Gettysburg are endless. It seems that time has not healed this battlefield. The land itself seems to hold a memory. The very soil remembers the blood, and every gust of wind seems to carry the final breaths of young men who never found peace, who never made it home. Visitors often speak of a profound, overwhelming sadness that washes over them, a sorrow that doesn't feel like their own. It's the lingering emotional energy of the battle, an echo of pain that has never faded. Gettysburg is a town of undeniable beauty, rich with history and patriotism. But when the sun goes down and the fog rolls in, another side of the town emerges. The war returns to the shadows. The dead march again. They are still trapped in their final desperate fight. Still waiting for orders, still searching for lost friends, still waiting to finally go home. And perhaps they are still asking us, the living, to listen to their stories and to remember them. Thanks for watching. If you've ever had an experience in Gettysburg, share it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more journeys into the world's most haunted places.